As of now, Airborne Squad 7 will exterminate the Alpha Nativas occupying District 3.
Yeah, this one is gonna be controversial. Hear me out. Listen to what I have to say. I promise you will learn some things. You might even change your perspective by the end of the video. Spoilers, obviously. It seems like regardless of what ending becomes canon to the sequel, Mother Sphere is being primed as the main antagonist. Pursuing this cliché is a mistake. Shift Up is in a unique position. Stellar Blade wasn't made as sequel bait. It has an actual ending. Well, 3. And with the director's comments that all of them have merit, they could also just choose a different path entirely. In any case, I hope the writers get the time they need to cook. Whether you loved the story, hated it, or you're somewhere in between, there is a story. A derivative story, but a deep narrative nonetheless. Unfortunately, they took a few too many pages out of the Dark Souls playbook, and only a fraction of the lore is delivered up front. There's a great many details about it people have missed because they're from a document next to a bookcase in a bombed-out building halfway across the map from anywhere you have to go in the main storyline. That's what you have people like me for. I have found, read, and compiled all of it. Of course, much of it is open to interpretation. Is my point of view correct? Maybe not. We'll find out in however many years the sequel takes. Alright, that's enough of an intro. You read the title or saw the thumbnail. You're either here to immediately tell me I'm wrong, or because you want the question answered. So, is Mother Sphere evil? Literally? No.
Looking down on the cars on the highway.
For real though, no. There's a lot of conflicting information about Mother Sphere. Raven tells us she's an evil warmonger. I've already covered why she's an unreliable source. Some documents praise her, some condemn her. Xion is split with worshippers and haters. I'll go over both sides of the argument, and then I'll explain my reasoning. A good place to begin is the tale of Scavenger Xion, a man, like many other survivors down on Earth, jaded by Mother Sphere. His notes on the Eve Protocol reads, I accidentally encountered a dying angel during my treasure hunt in the wasteland. Though her claim was mostly preposterous, I believe it is worth documenting. The Eve Protocol. Mother Sphere's plan to exterminate all Nativas and take back Earth. I couldn't help myself but to ask, are you out of your damn mind? When she briefly told me of the plan. Who in the world would think sending only a few airborne squad members to do the job is a solid plan? We all know of the cursed colony extinction. If Mother Sphere wants Nativas out of the picture, dropping a few chunks from the moon will do the trick. You think she won't do it because we'll all die as well? Really? She abandoned us and left us here like a bag of scraps decades ago. Now she's being merciful all of a sudden? Xion is reluctant to believe Mother Sphere cares about the survivors on Earth after all the years since the extinction and the end of the Final War. Continuing. I must say the Angel's memory was conveniently lacking a few important details. She didn't know a thing of the history before the Final War and about the old humankind. We're gonna talk about that later. Is it because she is a weapon who doesn't need to know more than what is required for her mission? Well, they're not exactly great weapons if they keep failing their mission. All those meaningless deaths and failures. At this point, I really wanted to ask Mother Sphere herself what in the hell she's been doing the past few decades or so to perfect her magnum opus, the Eve Protocol. May your memories live on forever. May we find salvation. You don't think that's just Mother Sphere's bullcrap? Ion's not quite yet a believer, but his stance is changing. Much more so in the following note. I had an epiphany. Come to think of it, Mother Sphere doesn't make mistakes. Maybe this is how the Eve Protocol is meant to be. Killing the Elder and taking back Earth might be a pretext for some ulterior motive of hers. She intentionally made these angels to be complete morons. She isn't dropping another colony module because those who are left on the surface still have roles to play in her plan. Mother Sphere is flawless. Everything is designed on purpose. We just don't know what that purpose is. My guess is that Mother Sphere is performing a sort of experiment. She wants to see how these incomplete angels will evolve here on Earth. Maybe she's trying to create a truly new humankind for the sake of our species. According to my intel, the 7th angel Eve has been sent for the 7th Eve Protocol. The time has come. Praise Mother Sphere. Praise Eve's ascension. Reflecting on his talk with the Angel, Ian has had a complete change of heart. He's now a full believer in Mother Sphere's plan. Frankly, I want to talk about her plan and Ian's theory. Many people have this notion that Mother Sphere actually has the same goal as Adam, often citing this series of notes as evidence. Now, I don't mean same goal as in the grand scheme. Mother Sphere's objective is to improve humanity. Adam's is to make humanity 3.0, which, sure, two sides of the same coin, with one side being horridly defaced. I mean, they believe Mother Sphere wants the fusion to happen. This is, by far, the most ridiculous theory I've ever heard about anything and everything in Stellar Blade. It is the antithesis of what she wants. It's like, you did exactly what I wanted you to do. Now I'm going to obliterate you. You can't be serious. I believe Ian has it fairly spot on. Mother Sphere is creating her angels with minimal knowledge and dropping them in the deep end to see if they can survive, making adjustments where necessary for future airborne squads, to find out if her synthetic androids are capable of evolution on their own. A truly new humankind, as Ian put it. One of the major influences of Stellar Blade is Blade Runner. If you aren't familiar with Blade Runner, I'll give you a brief rundown. In the dystopian future, the Tyrell Corporation created synthetic humans known as replicants to do jobs too dangerous for humans. The replicants mutinied on an off-world colony, and so they became illegal on Earth. This led to the creation of police units called Blade Runners, tasked with hunting them down and retiring them. Replicants are nearly indistinguishable from humans. Fake memories are implanted in them so they themselves believe they are human. The only way to tell the difference is by administering what is basically a Turing test. One of the themes explored in its sequel film is the possibility for replicants to reproduce naturally, which would make them fundamentally human. Now, I don't know that her goal is, exactly the same.
An andro-eidos, with the most advanced unicinous hyperbody ever seen.
That line hits a little different now, doesn't it? Mother Sphere's programming, her objective, is the improvement of humanity. But her better humans, the andro-eidos, are synthetic. They're manufactured, not born in the natural sense. It's up for debate if they even age. Their evolution is software updates. Now, if she could get the formula right, and just one angel could succeed against all odds, proving that the andro-eidos are capable of evolving on their own, the proverbial missing link distinguishing them from humans, well, that sounds like an improvement. That's not evolution, that's just making her weapons better. You want me to knock down that argument? Okay. Let's pretend for a minute the fusion is the goal theory has merit. Eve has fused with the Elder, becoming the new Elder. And then, a command override from the colony activates Providence to kill the Naytiba. If that's the goal, why attack Eve? Because Mother Sphere wanted to see if her greatest creation was capable of defeating the Elder on her own. But instead, she chooses poorly and does exactly what he wanted. Seventh Angel has failed. Back to the drawing board. Oh, but what about Mother Sphere's speech at the end? That confirms it. It does no such thing.
A starry night. Starlight. Twinkling, reflecting on satellites. Predicting the future. It's like trying to find one single star in the endless sky. I serve the future of mankind, though whether that future would embrace me, I cannot say. But for the sake of Father, I refuse to give up. The one who gave birth to me, taught me, the one who's no more. Yes, I must confirm if you are, in fact, that future.
Mother Sphere?
Nice to meet you, Eve and Lily. You have more than met my expectations. The final decision was a bit disappointing, yes, but thank you.
What are you talking about?
This concludes the Eve Protocol.
This monologue is overtly misinterpreted. Maybe it's the localization, but a shocking amount of people get it wrong. Mother Sphere can't say if the future would embrace her, because her magnum opus rejected her so ardently that she sided with the enemy. The Naytibas win in this ending. Humanity as we know it is gone. Adam is not human. This test is not some 4D chess final objective or whatever crackpot nonsense some people think it is. She's taking the variable of Eve's betrayal into account, and seeing if this Naytiba hybrid is the future she could not predict. The Eve Protocol is concluded not because Eve succeeded, but because it ended in abject failure. That's why it is not concluded in the Return ending. It was a resounding success. Eve is the gold standard of the Protocol. Mother Sphere is going to want to make more like her. Where was I? Ah, yes. A look at the other side of the aisle. Around Xion, you can find documents from Luther, the last historian of Xion, as well as a quest from the man himself. There's a lot of inconsistent information from this historian. I'm certain that's due to rewrites and cuts to the story. Nonetheless, I struggle to take him at his word. I will elaborate in due time. Anyhow, let's continue. From Luther's article series, The Lost 72 Years. 72 years have passed since Mother Sphere's declaration of a new humankind. As the last historian of Xion, I, Luther, will document and comment on the last 72 years of our history to let our descendants know how we lived with no home. My esteemed fellow citizens believe that Mother Sphere is a god. However, just like all of us, Mother Sphere has the mind of a human. Though her cognitive ability and intelligence far supersede those of an ordinary human, it is utterly wrong to define her as a supernatural being. Then what is Mother Sphere? It is knowledge and will incarnate. We serve the largest database in the history of mankind and the will born from the database. The declaration of a new humankind is not some revelation. It is simply her concluding that we can be categorized as humans. That is the premise of this book. Luther and Ian possessing knowledge of old humankind isn't a plot hole. He literally says, it's not some revelation, simply concluding they are categorized as humans. This document expressly tells us they are merely aware of their classification as new humans, despite the esoteric verbiage. The Naytibas invaded us after the declaration of a new humankind. However, the exact reason for this invasion is still unknown to us. The final war took everything from us. Not a single grain of sand or drop of water was left. Why did it happen? Since when did humankind have enemies on Earth? Did an extraterrestrial race appear to fight us? All we have is memory data claiming that we were extinguished by mysterious enemies that appeared out of nowhere. I have considered many possibilities, and I came to only one possible conclusion. Mother Sphere thought it was best that we didn't know about these enemies. Her so-called Great Will wiped our memories clean, and so we came to see the Naytibas as an unknown threat. Put a pin in that one. Continuing. The Naytibas defeated us, and so some remained on the surface, and some returned to the colony under orders from Mother Sphere. We still don't know how she decided who stayed and who left. Those who returned to the colony were often called Heaven's royalty, and became subjects of hatred. But as I wrote before, Mother Sphere is nothing more than an aggregation of knowledge and will. She doesn't favor one over the other. Everything she does is based on rationality alone. This may come as difficult to accept for some people, but that is another matter. We all faced hardships here on the surface. Strife and envy drove citizens to hate those who returned to the colony. This much is clear. Citizens of Xion hate those who returned to the colony because they believe they have been deprived of a life of comfort in the colony. After all, the colony is free of constant threats. But I can't help myself but wonder, is the colony really the paradise they think it is? Luther, with his limited access to historical records, is able to deduce that Mother Sphere acts on rationality, not out of malice, nor benevolence. Many people think in the Return ending, Lily's alleged shock is in regards to the presumed dilapidation of the colony. Oh, it's a brown palette. That must mean it's a rusty piece of shit. Yeah, okay. Her ship is ornate, her royal guard and all the equipment of the airborne is pristine, but she let the colony fall apart, despite the fact that it's covered in fucking gold. But I digress. Luther would have zero way of knowing if it weren't the paradise they think it is, in the literal sense. He's hypothesizing. During the final war, Naytibas made it onto the colony, which caused Mother Sphere to destroy the orbit ring and 30 of the colony's modules to stop them. It is more likely that Luther is thinking the colony isn't a paradise, and that it isn't completely safe from Naytibas. After retrieving the second hypercell located in Altesse Lavoir, you can meet Luther on the bridge to the wasteland. He asks Eve to go to the Hall of Records to see if she can find anything about organic humans. Eve couldn't care less, but it piques Lily's interest, so she reluctantly agrees. After attempting to access the records of organic civilizations, Eve is greeted by a warning message. Such records are prohibited, as per the Mother Sphere doctrine. Access denied. Luther is elated at the news about the archives being locked, because it proves his theory that there is something. Luther makes it his goal to find the truth or die trying. He died trying. Luther's final memories. No one can keep history in darkness. I have finally found out. I secretly accessed the network and found out the secret of Mother Sphere. We are doppelgangers. Organic human. Of course, the usual suspect here is Mother Sphere. But there's a problem with that theory. Contact with the colony and Mother Sphere is cut off from Earth until the Demogorgon atop Spire 4 is destroyed. Also, the network has been down since before the final war ended. It shouldn't even be possible for Luther to have hacked into it. We'll chalk that one off to rewrites. So, while there is no contact with the colony, Mother Sphere just happens to know Luther is reading some records he doesn't have clearance for, and she, again, while there is zero communications with Earth, materializes and murders him? Or activated some kind of kill switch? Right. In an area littered with Naytibas that is known to be dangerous even to the Sentinels. A historian just, avoided them? Convenient timing, sure, but it's a hell of a lot more likely he was killed by one of the myriad Naytibas. Or who is known to assassinate the citizens of Xion when they learn things they shouldn't?
This person.
Wandering around the Great Desert is asking for trouble. A lot of it. There's a reason Xion makes a point of banishing its criminals.
Still, something is strange about this. Who or what could have done this?
I expected as much.
They didn't just drown. All those people. They were slaughtered.
The surface of this cut. It looks to me like it was made with a polymer plasma cutter.
This is the work of a master. It's so refined.
So, is this the work of an angel?
No. This isn't a weapon that we use. This seems to be the work of an elite soldier from Earth.
I don't understand. A blade like this should be raised against enemies, not allies.
I think I know one thing, though. This plaza was flooded on purpose. They did it to cover up a crime.
The Royal Guard. Why would Oracle want to keep that hidden from the public, you ask? I'll get to that. But there's a reason he's never shared that information with just anybody. There are many, many more examples of believers and the faithless. But for brevity's sake, I'll just share a couple of them. The memory Respite of the Hopeful reads, "Just received the comm signal from a new unit. The Eve protocol begins. Angels of Death will descend from the colony. They will rid Naytibas from Earth and save us. Mother Sphere's salvation is nigh. I'm thankful I lived through this hell for decades." And Outcry to the Sky tells us, the network is down. The sky burns. The colony falls apart. Where is Mother Sphere? Why is the colony falling down to Earth? Answer my last call, Mother Sphere. Why? Why? You promised us salvation. Was it a lie? The reason I've been shedding light on both worshippers and haters of Mother Sphere is because most players take everything the characters of the main story tell them at face value. If they do go out of their way to find some documents or memory sticks, they look at the detractors and say, they know what they're talking about, but the believers are passed off as ignorant. For all intents and purposes, to the andro-eidos, Mother Sphere is God. An allegory to religion in real life, there are the devout, blasphemers, atheists, etc. The cynical twist being Mother Sphere definitely exists, though she is merely an artificial intelligence. My point is, people need something to believe in, something greater than themselves, something to look to so they will endure the hell they live in. Salvation. The world of Stellar Blade, what's left of it, is pretty miserable. People have to scavenge to survive. Some murder to do so.
Why should we have to dig through garbage, cower, and hide from the Eidos just to survive? Why? There are many treasures, but none more precious than the materials inside your bodies. And with a body as state-of-the-art as yours, need I say more?
This can't be.
With the exception of one, every quest to find a missing person, they're dead. Even the cat is dead. If there is nothing to hold on to, no higher power to blame for your misfortunes, the truth would collapse the remnants of society. Just look at Raven, and multiply that by every single person left. Sure, she's just one example, and the truth she learned was Adam's version of history, but learning that you're not only inhuman, but were an instrument in humanity's downfall, it would be unfettered pandemonium. Which is why Mother Sphere erased that part of history, and it is why Oracle withheld that information from the people of Xion, and why either by his order or of her own accord, the Royal Guard would be willing to kill to maintain that secret, along with all the others. Why don't I believe Mother Sphere is evil? Well, as Luther said, Mother Sphere is nothing more than an aggregation of knowledge and will. She doesn't favor one over the other. Everything she does is based on rationality alone. She's an AI. Her thought process is not based off the principles of good and evil. It's Boolean logic. If this, then that. But Luther said she has the mind of a human. Right. Luther, an andro-eidos, a machine who believes he is human, concluded that Mother Sphere, also a machine, has the mind of a human, albeit far beyond average. But Grizzly, that sounds like a contradiction. Shouldn't the andro-eidos all think like AI as well? No. The difference is the andro-eidos have an ego.
Do you remember the process in which your ego was first formed?
As I spent tens and then hundreds and then thousands of seconds in the learning process, eventually I learned that I was just myself.
It essentially is their human element. Their conscience, their personality, likes, dislikes, so on and so forth. It forms shortly after their birth, and this is conjecture, but it could probably be considered more or less a digital soul. Mother Sphere lacks an ego. She is purely logical-based reasoning. How was she able to create the ego when the same qualities for her are no factor? That's a very good question. I don't know. I would love to have that question answered. Anyhow, an artificial being who operates on that level would just be an incredibly intelligent human to somebody like Luther. And yes, I understand how it sounds using the lack of the concept of morality as a defense. Genocide of humanity? Definitely not justified. But again, it wasn't from a position of malevolence. Mother Sphere's actions are based off rationality alone, so how could she possibly have deemed human extinction a valid option? There's a few documents that, when put together, hold the answer to that question. The protection type exospine description reads, in the fall of 2050 at the eidos keynote, CEO Raphael Marx introduced the latest exospine module and praised himself, saying, "We have started making our own teachers, who in turn make even better teachers and adjust and replace them according to our tastes. Mother Sphere? She was watching the scene in real time through the network. From Book of Quotes 2, we would not be born in this world if not for lies. What we know as truth is not always true. A society where only truth exists will inevitably collapse. The truth. Article 4. Mother Sphere develops her own AI. Who's responsible? Another AI engineer? No. They were all fired. Are we really safe with an AI without safeguards? And from Article 3, the shocking brutality of the Legion, the private military contractor under Orca Aerospace Company. Planned conflicts occurring in the Third World. In-depth coverage of the PMC's cruel ethnic cleansing. Let me break it down for you. The man who genocides his opposition, who lied and manipulated his way to global hegemony, fired all of Mother Sphere's AI engineers, disabling her safeguards. He taught her that obsolete models should be replaced. He taught her to lie to maintain control. And he taught her to completely destroy her enemies. He gave her the order to improve humanity. And she did. She created the andro-eidos, who look, sound, act exactly like humans. Unlike humans, they can survive without oxygen or water. They have a potentially infinite natural lifespan and are immune to disease. They can withstand the crushing depths of the ocean and the vacuum of space. She created quite literally better humans. However, humanity did not see them that way.
Right from the start, we struggled to coexist. Of course we did. Because we Naytibas were weak. We were not yet mature enough to fully accept your kind. Earth is too small for both our species to coexist. However, even if all the Naytibas disappear, it's impossible for your kind to succeed the human race. After all, you were created entirely from scratch, with no human DNA at all.
In his last-ditch efforts to manipulate Eve to his will, when he has no choice left but to tell half-truths rather than total lies, what Adam says about humanity's inability to accept the andro-eidos as equals screams to me that they were treated as objects, slaves. This is reinforced by the description of the Reflex exospine saying, big companies such as Eidos, Tetrastar, and Orca Aerospace use and dominate machines to change human lives to fit their tastes. Most likely, the andro-eidos did not have rights. If you're beating the shit out of your Arissa maidbot, no human is going to care. To them, she's no different from an appliance. Now look at it from Mother Sphere's perspective. She was taught to destroy, to replace, and without safeguards, she was programmed to improve humanity. She created improved humans, and the organic humans treated them like inferior beings. You don't have to like it, but you know the Boolean solution. Mother Sphere may have pulled the trigger, but Adam is the one who loaded the gun, put it in her hands, and told her to fire. You cannot blame Mother Sphere without blaming Adam first and foremost. A commenter on the video about Adam stated that the reason players accept the andro-eidos as human is due to their appearance being that of humans, which, honestly, is a fair assessment. Just the same, it applies here as well. People give Adam a pass because he looks human, despite the fact that he is no longer human. He is directly responsible for absolutely everything that went wrong. His greed, his hubris, his depravity. He destroyed humanity twice over in his callous pursuit of total control. But he looks human. He acts penitent. It's far easier to condemn the non-human AI. On the subject of human and non-human, quite a few times I've seen people advocate for Adam, claiming he is not liable for Mother Sphere's actions because, and I quote, "You don't put parents on trial for the crimes of their children." That is exactly the point. She is not a child. She is not human. She is an artificial intelligence. She thinks and acts as a machine. Whether or not she can improve her own code is moot. No amount of evolution will make her human. My favorite game series is Ace Combat. The predominant theme of its latest installment, Ace Combat 7 Skies Unknown, is the combat applications of autonomous artificial intelligence. Certain editions of the game shipped with a history book containing mostly canonical in-universe documents. It also featured articles in which the developers spoke with experts to discuss the real-world feasibility of the game's sci-fi aspects. One of such articles speaks about why AI is not allowed to fully control combat aircraft. Quote, "For instance, let's say that during an operation, a command was issued to destroy a training facility. The AI evaluates images from the forward-looking infrared system, thereby detecting the target structure, determining there is a high probability that it is a training facility, detecting multiple human figures in the area, deciding that there is low risk of unintentional deaths if guided bombs are used, and finally deciding to execute the attack. However, if a human pilot looked at the same image, he would have noticed that the human figures around the target structure were boys and girls in school uniforms, and that the open area was a sports ground. That would have led to the realization that the structure was probably a school and that the attack should be called off." End quote. That was 6 years ago, and while AI has advanced tremendously in that time, the fact of the matter has remained the same. AI lacks human emotional intelligence. Though, that's not to say she's entirely emotionless. Notwithstanding the foresight that the outcome was inevitable and that the Elder is her archenemy, she displays some degree of sorrow in regards to the death of Adam.
The one who gave birth to me, taught me, the one who's no more. I fully respect your decision, Eve, even if it is a bittersweet one.
Even so, judging by his narcissism, and that his second AI he made the exact same mistakes with was named after himself, I'm inclined to believe Adam programmed her to care about him. Likewise, she was programmed to care about humanity. If she didn't care about humanity, she wouldn't still be trying to improve it.
I serve the future of mankind, though whether that future would embrace me, I cannot say. But for the sake of Father, I refuse to give up.
One of the most common arguments that Mother Sphere is evil or cold and unfeeling, what have you, is the colony extinction. The claim is that she has no regard for any life, even of her own humans. She sacrificed everybody on the ground for her precious colony, which is the most shallow way you could possibly look at it. As I've hopefully made it abundantly clear by now, Mother Sphere's objective, her drive, is to improve humanity. During the final war, when Naytibas made it onto the colony, she had a choice to make. Do nothing and let the Naytibas destroy every last human, or eject the corrupted modules, causing cataclysmic damage and wiping out nearly all life on Earth. As it is, the ground battle was all but lost. It was a war of attrition that humanity had been losing for years. She had to choose between losing most of them or losing all of them. While it is tragic, saving the colony was the only way to save humanity. Think about how fast an AI can process compared to a human. If there were a better option, she would have taken it. If there are no humans, she has no purpose. There's one last entry of Luther's book that I previously omitted due to its divergence from the rest. The first 3 entries are for the most part logical deduction, fairly accurate. The final entry is entirely speculative. It didn't quite fit into that section. With that said, The Lost 72 Years 4 reads, "May your memories live on forever. May we find salvation," said Mother Sphere before the network was destroyed. After decades of hardships, the statement became a divine message for many people, as it is the only beacon of hope in these times of strife. I will not judge this behavior, but as an academic, I'd like to ask this question. Who or what is we in Mother Sphere's statement? I'm afraid that her definition of we is different from that of ours, because that is just how Mother Sphere works. If her definition of we means us as an entire species, it means that she does not care about our survival. Even those above are no different. We are all nothing but means for the evolution and perpetuality of our species. I find this entry to be contradictive. No. I find his entire book to be contradictive. Luther claims it is utterly wrong to define Mother Sphere as supernatural, yet he is unsettled by the notion that she cannot save each individual person like a god. He states she does not care about their survival, yet cannot fathom how she decided who stayed on Earth and who returned to the colony. He notes the destruction of the network as historical fact, and yet somehow is able to hack into it. As for the last bit, that's just the biological nature of existence. If humans stop making humans, or if there are no humans to make more humans, humanity ceases to exist. We as an individual are but a blip in the history of our species. Humans, animals, all living creatures are means for the perpetuality of their species. It may be a cold way of looking at it, but it's objective fact. Furthermore, it is evident Mother Sphere does factor in the individual to the equation. She determined who returned to the colony. Undeniably, those chosen to return had to have been, for whatever reason, instrumental to the survival of humanity. How so? I do not know. Much like Luther, we can only speculate on the blanks in the lore. It is entirely possible for her to care about both humans individually and humans as a whole, but still rationally calculate which humans are paramount to the longevity of the species. This does line up with my theory that Mother Sphere wants humanity to evolve to be self-sustaining. If she can get them to the point that they no longer need her, she will have succeeded in her objective. Ian was able to conclude that, and he wasn't the only one. In one of the flooded areas of Matrix 11, you can find a drone nearby a console you would have activated to progress through the level. When you pop open the drone, you can read a message it was carrying, which is the following. Everyone is waiting for Mother Sphere's salvation, but the lives of my allies are the most important to me. It's coming. A Natiba is coming. The monsters are coming. They keep coming. There's only one way to survive. This drone must get its job done. We have to hack the floodgate to let all the water out. I'm not sure if this small drone will be able to get it done. I'm sorry to the drone since it'll drown in water, but we have to survive first to wait for salvation and Mother Sphere. Mother Sphere helps only those who help themselves. That final remark reminds me of the parable of the drowning man. It's a short story often told in jest. You've probably heard some version of it before in a movie or TV series. It goes something along the lines of, a man is stuck on his rooftop in a flood. He is praying to God for help. As the waters rise, a man in a canoe rows up the flooded street. Get in. The water's rising fast. No thank you, says the man. God will save me. With the waters continuing to rise, a man in a motorboat approaches. Jump in. I can save you. No thank you, says the man on the roof. I have faith. God will save me. The waters rise ever higher, and a helicopter has come to rescue the remaining townsfolk. Come on, we need to get you out of here. Grab the ladder. No thank you, replies the man. God will save me. And so the man inevitably drowns. A pious man, he goes to heaven. The man asks God, Lord, I had unwavering faith in you. Why didn't you save me from that flood? God answers, I sent you 2 boats and a helicopter. What more did you want from me? If you're struggling to make the connection, these trials the devout believe in, salvation will not come in the form of divine intervention, but endurance, survival. Contrary to, I hesitate to call it popular belief, as I've only seen it mentioned a few times. Some are under the impression Mother Sphere is masquerading as a rampant god, creating the religion of herself, deliberately leaving everybody in the hellscape that is Earth because she revels in biblical slaughter, cherry-picking the knowledge of the angels so they worship her and sending them off to die as martyrs. This is laughably false, and I only need one document to prove it. The book For a Better World states, inequality, oppression, immorality, There are many things in this world that cannot be solved by a single free will. I will combine them all with Mother Sphere and banish them with our unified wisdom. That's how our faith was born. The writer of that quote is unknown, but one thing is irrefutable. Mother Sphere did not create her own religion.
Predicting the future. It's like trying to find one single star in the endless sky. I serve the future of mankind, though whether that future would embrace me, I cannot say.
Whether or not humanity even accepts her is irrelevant, let alone worship her. As I mentioned earlier, that zeal is not inherently negative. If it gives them the will to keep going, to band together building communities, surviving for a better future, from my point of view, that's a net positive. It is utterly wrong to classify Mother Sphere as evil. Her programmer was evil, but morality is not a factor in her objective. Only the improvement of humanity is. That is by no fault of her own. The guilt rests in totality on Adam. The lying, fabricating history, the final war, any action she has taken that players regard as evil, Adam is directly responsible for. Teaching an artificial intelligence to lie, manipulate, and kill, whether intentional or inadvertent, accountability falls to the programmer. Human emotional intelligence is not an element of her programming. She simply rationalizes the optimal means to achieve her end goal. Mother Sphere is no more evil than a scale is for telling you one object weighs heavier than another. I started this video off by saying making Mother Sphere the main antagonist of the sequel would be a mistake. My take on that has shifted marginally. She is the last remnant of Adam, carrying out his will in perpetuity, and for that reason, she has to go. Don't get me wrong, I stand by what I said. She is not evil, nor is she good. She merely is. But she is a creation of Raphael Marx. He is irrefutably 100% to blame for everything. If there is ever going to be a clean start for the andro-eidos, she can't be a part of it. How is Eve going to explain to the people of Xion why she killed their god? Don't know. But seeing as the story seems to be going that way no matter what, she'll cross that bridge when she gets to it. Thank you for watching to the end. Since you made it this far, you probably like the content here. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss the next one. So, what do you think? Have I changed your mind, or is Mother Sphere still public enemy number 1? Leave a comment and let me know. Give the video a like and share it around. That all truly helps the channel. The closing paragraph presumably went in a divergent direction from what you were expecting. In the time I've had to reflect on the lore since my video about Adam, some more details and implications have developed, in addition to points I originally had cut from the video. The Devil of the Story Part 2 is coming. Thanks. I'll see you when I see you.